Give me 5 minutes of your time and I'll share something about life, God, and the Bible. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken but endures forever. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people both now and forevermore. Psalm 125, verses 1 to 2. Psalm 125 is a song of a pilgrim. The pilgrim is on their way to Zion, to Jerusalem, where they hope to celebrate who God is and where God lives. We too are pilgrims on a journey. We are blessed to celebrate God's provision and God's goodness in our present life. When we put our trust in Jesus, we realize that we are heading for one destination. We become pilgrims on a journey to where God lives. Psalm 125 tells us that until we reach that destination, we are to do two things. First, we are to do good. We are to avoid having evil hands. We are to keep close to God and love our neighbors as ourselves. Second, we are to trust in God. What happens when we trust in God? Psalm 125 verse 1. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken, but endures forever. In our experience in the past 4 years, especially when we faced an epidemic, we have come to understand that life is fragile and we face many challenges in our lives. Where do we turn to, or who do we turn to when we face these challenges of life? We turn to God, who is like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken but endures forever. However, before we can turn to God, we need to remember that God is there even before we can turn to God. Psalm 125, verse 2. As the mountains surround Jerusalem, so the Lord surrounds his people, both now and forevermore. We might not always be aware of it, but God is always there with us. In fact, the singer of Psalm 125 tells us that when the Lord surrounds us, God's people both now and forevermore. God is with us, or God was with us in the past. God is with us in the now. God will be with us in the future. Here is a story from Carl. He is at the swimming pool with his wife. He writes this story about a young family arriving at the swimming pool in a devotional booklet. My wife and I were at a pool when a young family arrived. The father took his daughter into the water and was teaching her to swim. She was calm and tried to swim as long as her dad was holding her. But when he let go, she squealed, struggled about, and yelled to him. Her dad tried to soothe her, saying, "I'm right here, you won't sink." When she was connected to her dad, she felt safe. But when that connection was broken, she became anxious and fearful. Watching that father and daughter made me think about my relationship with God. As long as I stay connected to God through study and prayer, I do fine. But when I begin to lose trust that God is working in my life and simply neglect to turn things over to God, I start to struggle and sink. My failure to trust increases my doubts, and doubt causes anxiety. But those feelings diminish when I lean in and trust God's strong touch that lets me know that God is always within reach. So remember, God is within our reach. Trust in God. Amen.